Lone Star barbecue sauce, the perfect partner for your chicken.
That was great, Lee. Can you do one more?
Lone Star barbecue sauce.
Have you ever heard of the Western Appreciation Guild? They want to give you a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Lifetime, huh? Anything else? A job offer, a script?
Not at the moment.
Dad, what are you doing here?
I guess it's been a while, huh?
I gotta get back.
You trying to give me a heart attack? That was a cop knock. Are you okay? You seem a little off.
I did one film that I'm proud of. That was 40 years ago. Since then, I wouldn't say I've been achieving.
Lee, Charlotte, Lee.
Hey, you're staring at me.
I like trying to figure people out.
So what'd you figure out about me?
Not a thing.
Mr. Hayden, I'm such a huge fan. I just love your mustache.
It loves you too.
Lost in the dream.
One of the most popular actors in the 1970s, Mr. Lee Hayden.
I love you too. I'm nothing without all of you.
Down in the way.
How old are you?
How old are you?
71.
Why do you want to know how old I am?
Because this seems a little odd.
If you've got a problem with it, I'll go.
It's always hard to tell. What did you get into last night? I got offers, I got scripts.
Facts over the pages.
Wow. You still facts?
Love's the key to the games that we play.
I want to get past this.
You can't just decide to fix things.
Give me a chance to write another chapter.
The key to the things that you see. But you don't mind moving. It's the door in the dark.
It's kind of weird being remembered for one part for so many years.
But it's about as close to immortality as any person can get. This coffee's pretty good.
Yes, Folgers.
Give it up for these guys. Let's hear it one more time.
Hello.
Love that trailer. Love that song that's in the trailer.
Yeah, the War on Drugs.
Great band.
I'm just going to do a quick plug and say that their new single, Holding On, is out now. Well, I directed the music video, which comes out next week, so I'm really excited about it.
That's where the plug comes in.
Yeah, but we're also kind of here for, I don't know, something called The Hero, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Guys, so I want to start from the beginning with this. I know you worked together right on your last film, I'll See You in My Dreams, and I'm wondering if you started talking about this film then, or how this came about, because so much of this, you know, your wife is in it, she plays your ex-wife, I know you have a daughter in real life, you have a daughter in this. How much of it is sort of based off of your life, or just sort of inspired by your life?
We spent a lot of time on the road when we were promoting Dreams, as we are here promoting this, and I think that Breck just picked my brain for all the time we were out there and gleaned a screenplay out of it somehow. You know, he and Mark and I got to know each other, and I've never had anyone write a screenplay for me. I've had parts written for me over the years, but I've never had one written for me. So, for that reason, I think a lot of it is close to the bone in terms of me personally. That said, I don't have cancer.
All right, thankfully.
I don't smoke dope all day long, and I love my daughter dearly, and we're very close, and my wife and I are still married after 33 years, and so there's a few things that aren't anything at all like me.
A lot of the film is fictionalized. I wanted to see Sam play an actor, and when Sam Elliott plays an actor in a film, you can't deny his voice. You can't deny that his voice would be perfect for selling barbecue sauce, for instance. You also can't deny...
He would be an icon of Western. Yeah,
and the Western thing. And I think Sam definitely related to those elements of Lee. But Lee is a far less successful guy. He's a guy that's known for one movie called The Hero that he made in his prime, and then he probably got some work after that and was sort of, you know, a big deal in the 70s and then sort of fell off. And it's sort of about the aftermath and the residual kind of collateral damage that occurs in this industry. especially for actors that I think are once famous and then sort of forgotten about. And what he's sort of looking back on his life and trying to make sense of it. You know, he has a reason to sort of start engaging actively with the people around him. And I often say the film is about legacy, but it's really about the legacy of what it means to be a good human, a good father, a good person, a good husband, and a good friend. It's about being around people that care about you and being good to them in return.
Or about how little it means to have a legacy that doesn't incorporate those things.
Yes, that the legacy of the movies or the work and all of that is disposable to some degree. That it means something. I think there's a scene where Lee gives a speech in the film, and Sam and I have talked a lot about that speech is truthful. I think that Sam loves his fans and is very proud of the work he's done, as Lee is. But I think at the same time, at the end of the day, and I think we could all agree, the relationships and the legacies that matters are with your loved ones. And that's really what this movie's about, plain and simple.
Sam, I want to go back to something that you said, which was that people have written parts for you before. I think probably your character in The Big Lebowski was probably written for you. I think the Coen brothers said that they wrote that for you, right?
My name was literally in the script.
What's it like to have a screenplay written for you, and how does that feel? How does that feel different?
After like 48 years in pursuit of this career and in a lifetime of basically wanting to do it since I was a young kid, I just look at it as an incredible gift, you know, to all of a sudden have this thing offered up to me, where I get to be on every page and basically in every scene working with some actors that I just have the highest regard for. It's I don't know, it's mind-boggling. I mean, the whole thing. This is mind-boggling, sitting here, you know. I mean, I've done a lot of these press tours in my lifetime. I've never worked harder than I am on this one. But
that's the lead. That's part of the rub of being the lead in a film.
But the wonderful thing about doing a press tour on something you really are close to and seeing this success come not only to the film in terms of the way it's been embraced, but seeing it come to this guy that I think is just about to really get rolling in his film career is it's a wonderful thing to be part of it.
I'm going to take a shot at a deep question, for lack of a better phrase, and it might not work, so bear with me here.
If it's too deep, I may not get it. So
I imagine the difference between a character that's written for you and what you do in this film is the difference between, as much as this person is not you, is the difference between someone being like, this sounds like you, so, you know, just sound like that, and play, but it's still a part that you can kind of do and sort of keep at arm's length a little bit, where with this, as much as the details aren't necessarily your life, you are playing a version of yourself. So it's finding the kind of courage or strength to walk on set and not hold this character and this material at an arm's length.
I don't think I ever drew it in as close to it as I did to this, and I think you see it. It's it's not me. I mean, that's not me. That's what I do. It's not who I am personally.
I know that.
But that said, I get this guy. I understand Lee Hayden because I'm an actor, and I've had this long haul career. The difference is that he basically fucked up his entire life and his family in pursuit of his career. You know, I've idealistically, maybe in the beginning when I got into this business, wanted two things. I wanted to have a career, but I also wanted to have a family life. And I've been my good fortune that I do have both. But to be able to go and really embrace the story, and again, with the actors that I was working with, you're only really as good as, you know, it's like an opponent or somebody you're playing a match with. I truly believe that, and I think that good actors draw good performances out of each other. And when you've got this guy, you know, kind of leading the march, it's a wonderful journey, and that allows you to fully embrace it and, you know, kind of bare your soul a little bit more than I've had an opportunity to do.
Now, Brett, you write this screenplay for Sam. Were you nervous bringing it to him?
Yeah, I mean, Mark Bash, my co-writer, and I, we knew we were writing this for Sam, and we knew that he was the only person, not only that we wanted to play this role, but frankly that could play this role. And we said to Sam and his team, we said, look, if you don't like it or if you don't want to do it, it's fine. We're just going to put it in the drawer. You know, it was an exercise. Like, we love to write. I've written plenty of screenplays that, you know, will never see the light of day. Everything is a good experience. As a filmmaker, you learn from everything, whether it's a success or a failure or however you characterize it. And I always tell writers to write, actors to act, directors to go direct. So it wasn't a big, you know, I wanted to make this film with Sam. So we sent it to him and said, look, if it's not for you, it's all good. But it's just for you. You know, we're not going to try to, you know, massage it into something else. This film came truly from my love and admiration of this man, 100%. And I think that movies these days have to have a lot of reasons for existing. And I was like, my reason for this movie was 90 minutes of Sam Elliott. And
that's a good enough reason for me, man.
I'm not ashamed to say it, and I'm super proud of it. And when people see the film, and if they do love Sam the way that I do, it's a film that I would have wanted to see. I think a lot of times people say, well, do you make movies for yourself or do you make movies for like the masses? It's a little bit of both. I'm a film lover, I'm a film goer, so I make movies that I think I would like.
You get to sit in an edit bay and edit Sam.
And I get to look at this guy's face all day. It's not too bad. There are a lot of close-ups in the movie. It's very enjoyable.
There's a wonderful sequence in the film, and you know, I don't want to give anything away, but basically the Western Award is that what it's called? Excuse me.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you the name. It's so long. I wrote it and I can't remember the name.
But the award show that Sam goes to, his character goes to with Laura Prepon's character.
Yeah.
And they take Molly, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Molly.
Molly, and walk around.
MDMA. Everyone, don't do drugs.
What I loved about that sequence was because to me that sequence didn't turn into this kind of like, oh, look at how hilarious it is that they're on drugs. It's this idea that he's finally connected in some way to this thing that is really hard to connect to, even as a person, even as a celebrity, even as an actor, being honored, being around people that are showering you with attention. He finally somehow is able to open up to it.
Yeah, and I think that's, you know, we try not to, you know, I think drugs can be kind of, for lack of a better word, abused in movies as a trope or as some kind of device to kind of. But the thing that I love about it is to see not only. I just wanted to see Sam Elliott on Molly. I thought it'd be really funny. I mean, obviously, he had no clue what I was talking about. I was like, so it's this drug, and he's like, whatever.
Still
man.
don't.
Yeah, But when you watch the movie, you're like. It's pretty impressive. His performance is really great.
It's done extremely well, the performance. Usually everybody overdoes it. I was like, yeah, that's about right.
That's about right, yeah. So, and
that looks fucking awesome.
Yeah. That looks like it feels really good. But the idea was that it put Lee Hayden, who normally would be like in a corner, uncomfortable and like, I don't want to be here and I can't deal with this. But with the addition of the drugs and the addition of Laura's character, Charlotte, who's a younger person who's pushing him, who he's like intimidated by and he's like taken by, and she's the one that's like just doing the drugs, and he's like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, if you want some, you know, you can't, you know. So she's pushing him into this kind of new place. And the where he is in his life is Lee himself is in denial of the situation that he's in. And I think this is
the situations that he's
all
in.
Of it. Yeah, and so he goes for this, and it puts him in this mode where I don't think he expects to get up there and feel the love, as he sort of says, as much as he does. And it is about Lee, as Sam has told the story many times, of coming to terms with the fact that he is a Western icon, and at some point in his career just saying, you know what, if that's what it is, I'm good with that, and I'm really proud of what I've done. The same thing, I think, happens to Lee. He accepts the fact that, you know what, if I'm known for this one movie, and even if it's just 100 people in this room are here and they love me and for that movie, that's a really amazing feeling.
Talk about that, this idea that he just brought up of being a Western icon and coming to terms with that. When, at what point in your career did you sort of come to terms with that?
Probably The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, because I mean, that is introducing you as an icon.
I expected, when I got a Coen Brothers script to read, that it was going to be some really far-out, interesting character that I'd never played before. And I opened it up, and in the description of it, it was about the voice versus with a Western twang or whatever it said, sounding not unlike Sam Elliott. And then the description when he shows up at the bowling alley, you know, dressed like a drugstore cowboy, looking not unlike Sam Elliott. So
I think the Coens knew exactly what they wanted for that part, yeah. Or who they wanted, rather.
And I think as Brett said, I've come to fully embrace that whole Western thing. I mean, it's not that I ever didn't enjoy it, but it's like when you get boxed in as an actor and perceive that you're kind of a one-note singer, and it can be frustrating. And you think, wow, man, I wish they'd just see past that and look at me as an actor, not a Western, icon or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, maybe it's just actors' insecurity, I don't know, or feeling like you've got more to offer. But the truth of it is that had I not had that Western thing in my background, I wouldn't be sitting here, for one thing. I wouldn't have worked for the Coen brothers, wouldn't have done a number of films that came to me because of the Western thing.
And I mean, not to, spoil anything for the movie, but we got to have our cake and eat it too in this movie, and there are Western-inspired sequences in the film. So there was a day on this, this little movie that we shot in 18 days that we're obviously super proud of, and we're so happy that it's getting out to the whole country theatrically, which is a real dream, and I think worthy of this guy right here. But we got, for one day, me and Sam, I had to pinch myself and go, holy shit, I'm making a Western with Sam Elliott. When he put on that hat and pulled out that 6-shooter, I was like, am I really in charge of this scene right now? And Sam was like, this is the first Western I've shot since Tombstone. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, well, no pressure, right? I mean, it's great. And I think we wanted to put him back in the boots. We wanted to put him back in the hat because it is such a natural fit. But at the same time, this movie allows Sam to go places I don't think he's gone before and be vulnerable and sensitive and funny. The other thing about this movie is it has so much humor and heart and love within it. And I think Sam and I talk often about the fact that we think of this film as a piece of entertainment, a fulfilling one. Something that when you leave the theater, you were entertained, you laughed, you cried. It's 90 minutes, it's not 2 hours long, it's a nice runtime, and you feel something. But at the end of the day, you were entertained. You went on this journey with this character, and I hope it's a moving one. It seems to be for people that have seen the film.
I want to go back to the Western sequence that you got the chance to direct. You said you only shot for a day doing it?
Every sequence where he's in a cowboy hat was one day, yeah.
How much did you, how much did you sort of hoard over those or think about those shots? Did you shot list them? Did you really go into it? Because you're normally not necessarily a genre director and trying to do that. You're shooting very realistic scenes between actors. I imagine you find a lot of that on the day.
Yeah, no, those were very planned out, and I'm not a genre director simply because I write to make what I can. At certain budget levels, you start getting in genre, the budget goes up, or studios get involved, you lose control. I love genre. I'm a huge genre fan, and I definitely want to continue to make those types of films. We were very influenced by Sergio Leone. Lee has a line in the film, Sam says it beautifully, he says, movies are other people's dreams. When Nick Offerman's telling him he doesn't want to hear about his dream. And he says, well, do you like movies? And Offerman says, yeah, I love movies. And he says, well, movies are other people's dreams. And that's true. I think that, I put my dreams up there. People like David Lynch put their literal dreams on screen, which sometimes can be terrifying and also wonderful. But I do think that we went and we watched The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and all the classics, and we sort of pulled from that.
You get that beautiful sort of shot that pulls back and reveals the legs hanging.
Yeah, you can dolly, you can have some fun with it. And then when you put that up against the rest of the film, which is very grounded and very real and feels really organic and honest, it has a real striking sort of, parallel.
Speaking of grounded and real and honest, you were talking a minute ago about not getting the chance often to sort of stretch your muscles as an actor, and this obviously gives you the chance to do that in a wonderful, wonderful scene in an audition. I'm not giving anything away, but I'm wondering if you can talk about doing that. Were you nervous doing that scene at all? Had it been a while since you'd had the chance to really break down like that?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever broken down on film before. I've certainly cried for different reasons. I've always looked at that as don't try too hard. You know, I mean, when you see people crying on screen, it's like, ugh, really, you know. And it's got to it just either comes out because an emotional wave rolls over you, or not. But if you try too hard, it looks like you're trying pretty hard. I'd given that scene a lot of thought.
Yeah.
I hadn't auditioned for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But it just, and it wasn't about screwing up the scene that took me where it took me. It was about thinking about his daughter, thinking about the you know, what happens at the top of the film, thinking about his life as being, you know, coming to maybe an end, not an end, but has been foreshortened. There were a lot of other things to think about other than the terrible script that Brett had written for the Galactica.
Yeah, the
movie.
scene, the movie within the movie, Galactic, which is bad.
We did 2 sequences on that film, and I think a lot of people's favorite scene in the film or sequence in the film is where Nick and I are rehearsing the film before the audition scene.
Yeah.
And it was important to go in there and see that Lee could really act still, which is, I think, what we got out of that scene, that he was still capable of pulling it off, because when he gets to the audition scene, he falls apart. And I think it's important that you think that Lee Hayden still has the goods, whether or not he has an opportunity to display them anymore, as, you know.
Do you think he doesn't have the goods? Because I had the
no, I
interpretation
think that he does. That's what I'm saying. I think
Yeah.
it's important that in the reading of the scene at home,
You're like, whoa,
you know,
this guy is legit.
his best friend sitting there with tears in his eyes at the end of the show, at the end of the scene, and he's, you know, he's reading the part of his daughter.
Yeah.
Nick Offerman's reading the part of my daughter, you know, and it's.
And it was also fun, I think, in a meta way. It was like we wanted to see that Lee Hayden could still act and do that kind of a scene, which is a badly written kind of studio type, you know, sci-fi, young adult novel inspired type thing. But we also got to see that Sam Elliott can do that. He can, because he's so understated in the film, and so he says so much with saying so little. And then suddenly you see him do this scene where he's, you know, doing this big voice, and he's in there, and yet it becomes emotional and incredible. And I tell him he just spins shit into gold, because it's a terrible monologue. It's purposefully supposed to be. And when we started shooting that scene, and I told Sam to really just start going for it and just trying this really weird thing, I was like, just throw everything at it and chew up the scenery kind of a thing. And we started doing it. Me and Offerman were just like, I mean, Offerman's got tears in his eyes. Those are real. He'll tell you that himself. That Nick Offerman was sitting there just awestruck by Sam's performance and just was totally moved by it. So that was a really, really fun day on set.
Let's get some questions from the audience. Who's got a question? Right there.
I've got a fake question and a real question.
What is a fake question?
The fake question is what I'd really like to ask you, Sam. You've got the best looking gray hair, and that's kind of an important.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Like,
you got to show that off, man.
What do you put in it? That's the fake question.
I use an oil called 3 Flowers. I wash my hair a lot, and I put a lot of oil on it.
3 Flowers.
Send the check, 3 Flowers. Jeez.
Tres Flores, actually, is the name of it.
Muchas gracias. So the real question was actually, you guys, when you first met, how was that arranged, and what happened at that meeting? Curious to hear that origin story.
Well, sorry, yeah. Sam was the first person that we offered the romantic lead of my last film, I'll See You in My Dreams, which are Blythe Danner and Sam and Martin Starr, some other really wonderful actors, Rhea Perlman. Anyway, he was the first person. I was like, well, if there's got to be a man around 70 who could sweep Blythe Danner off, just come in and sweep her off her feet, I was like, well, it's Sam Elliott. And I didn't expect Sam. It was a very, very small film, and I just didn't think that, you know, I thought, well, he's probably got better or bigger things to do, but Sam, being the type of guy that I know him to be now, read the script and simply just said, I love this, I'll do it, and I want to meet the director. And he goes, what did you say about me? Because you heard I was like 30, and you were like, what?
Yeah, I wondered how it was possible that this 30-year-old kid had written a screenplay, and what he was going to do with it. And, you know, I mean, as soon as I laid eyes on him, I thought, aha. You know?
I'm not sure what that means, but I'll take it. It worked out anyway. So we met and we started talking about the character and about everything. And then through the process of making the film, and then as Sam said, really promoting the film, having some dinners and maybe a couple of drinks together, we sort of really bonded and got to know each other. And then my goal was simply to make a movie where you see his name above the title. That's all. That's just what I wanted. So I'm super proud to be here.
Next question.
Hi, my name is Christian. I have a question for you, Brett.
Yeah.
I just graduated from a school called the University of North Carolina School of the Arts.
Hey, that's my school.
I know,
Congrats,
yes.
man.
We're both fighting pickles.
We're both pickles,
Yeah.
that's right.
So my question for you is, what is a fond memory of school that has affected you today?
Oh, that's wonderful. I loved going to School of the Arts. It was a great experience for me. I studied directing there, got a BFA in directing. And the fond memories I have is that my DP, Rob Givens, who I've shot all my films with, we met there. And I think the fact that we've been making movies together since we were about 18 years old, you know, I was 17 when I went to college, so I was one of those. We were one of those, yeah. So I showed up and I met Rob and we immediately started making movies together. So to go on this journey with him and then literally do this film and screen it at Sundance and have it be in theaters across the country and meet a lifelong collaborator, that was what really was special about going to School of the Arts for me. And so many talented people have come out of that school, so it was wonderful. I also had a big party house, which was simply called 444. Where was it? It was on 444 Hawthorne Street, and man, we threw some ragers. Those are fond memories.
I think I have time for one more question. Who's right here?
This question is for Sam. You've done so many different kinds of roles over the years, and you're two of my favorite films, Butch Cassidy and Lifeguard, which couldn't be any more different. Which, aside from Hero, has been your favorite role, would you say?
Right. I think that's one of the most, not to categorize your question, but I've had that question asked so many times, and it's so hard to answer because, you know, if you have good fortune enough to have been in some decent films along the road, then there are obviously things that stand out about all of them. I think what I remember most about films is the people that I've worked with rather than the film itself, if that makes any sense. And I don't think it'll ever get any better than it was on this film. You know, it just was on all sides of the camera. It was, you know, it was a labor of love for a lot of people. And I think in the end that we pulled it off with a piece of really good entertainment. And, you know, as Brett said earlier, that's the world we live in. You know, we're not curing anything but hopefully some people's ills once in a while, you know. Give them a chuckle, give them a laugh, and let them shed a tear maybe, and give them their money's worth, you know. Absolutely. I'd say this is the one. It was most enjoyable.
That means a lot, Sam.
On that note, guys, when can people see The Hero?
So The Hero comes out, you can see advanced screenings tonight in New York and LA, so please go check it out. And then it's going to be this weekend in New York and LA. In New York, it'll be at Angelica and Lincoln Square. And in LA, it'll be at the Landmark Cinemas and ArcLight Hollywood. And then we're going to do a rollout, what they call a rollout, where every week we're going to be in more theaters across the country. And then by June 30th, which is technically July 4th weekend this year, we get 5 days, apparently, we're going to be nationwide. So it'll be in most major markets by then, and if it continues to do well, it could even go even further. But the easiest way to keep up with the film is to go to thehero.film. We're also on Facebook at The Hero Movie, on Instagram, Twitter at Hero, The Hero Movie #17, as in 2017. So you can keep up with us. You can buy tickets. We're doing Q&As. Sam Elliott and I will be doing Q&As tomorrow night at the Angelica and Lincoln Square, one screening each. And then Sam and Nick will be doing Q&As in LA. And then Laura Prepon and I will be doing Q&As on Saturday and Sunday. So a lot of times to come, get some more info about the movie, experience it. It'll be a real experience. And again, it's 90 minutes of Sam, 90 minutes of entertainment, and hopefully something you can walk away with feeling fulfilled and refreshed and hopefully good about life. That's the kind of movies I like to make.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful film and a wonderful performance. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you guys. You guys are great.